So in the last lesson, we learned how to tempo match and beat match two songs together, plus we learned about the 4-bar counting trick. We're going to use this knowledge plus another thing I'll teach in this lesson to give you some tips on knowing when and where to hit play on the track when you're performing a mix. First up, let's take a look at a typical house music song. A track like this is usually made up of different segments or chunks called song sections. There are different types of song sections depending on the style of music. For techno, usually there's an intro at the beginning, which is usually either just a sparse drum beat or synth. There's a verse, which contains more musical elements. There's a breakdown, which is where the drums disappear and it gets a bit quiet. A build-up, which has an increase in energy and tension. And then a drop, which usually has big drums and the most recognizable part of the tune. Finally, the ending usually consists of an outro, which is also sparse like the intro. Now, it's useful to look at music this way because it gives you a mental model of how a track will progress. One of the most basic mixes that you can do is to mix in the intro of a song during the outro of a currently playing track, which is exactly what I did in the last video. The reason this works almost all of the time is because the intro and outro usually contain just a few musical elements. Maybe just the drums, a synth, or a bass line. Let's try that right now. Counting using the 4-bar trick is a handy way of keeping track of song sections in a tune because, as we mentioned earlier, almost all of dance music can be counted this way. So I've got 2 tracks loaded here. Deck 1 is almost done, and I want to mix into the track over here on deck number 2. Just by looking at the waveforms, I can already tell that there's an outro coming up for deck 1 because the track's almost ending and the waveform tapers off over here. I can also tell in deck 2 that there's a nice quiet intro with a drum beat because I can see the waveform spikes and the waveform itself isn't so dense in the beginning. So I'm going to play this song in deck number 1 and then I'm going to count in a 4-bar section and then I'm going to press sync on deck 2 to match the tempos and then I'll hit play on deck 2 right when the outro for deck 1 starts. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, and 1. There we go. Play that during the outro song section. Now I'm going to line up the beats. And I'm going to move the crossfader from deck number 1 to deck 2. Just like that. I can even just leave the crossfader here in the middle and wait for the song in deck 1 to finish because that's going to taper off and it'll lead us gently over into the next song section over here in deck 2. Have a listen. Just like that. Nice and smooth. Mixing with intros and outros is one of the most basic and most useful mix techniques for all DJs. And you can actually play a lot of parties and gigs doing just this. Of course, there are other styles you can explore, such as mixing the outro of your next tune with the break of the track that's currently playing. That's another style. The way to know if they're going to sound good is to know your tunes inside and out and to practice them. There is just no substitute for that. In the next lesson, we'll explore the hot cues performance pad mode of the party mix, so I'm gonna see you then.